Hi, in this video, let us discuss how to create Java application that use Spring framework. Okay, so let us create a project. Let us go to file, click new. Here we are going to, instead of creating a Java project, we are going to create a Maven project. Maven project means there is a tool called Maven. This Maven is actually used to pull the jar files. Okay, so whenever we create a project in Eclipse or any IDE, and if we require any external jar files, there are one way is we can download that jar file from the net and we can store these jar files in our project folder manually. This is one way of doing it. Another way is we can use tools like Maven. Maven is a build and dependency management tool. So Maven will pull these jar files for us. Okay. So we need to inform Maven that what jar files we require. So Maven will pull these jar files and it will put it in our project folder. Okay. So since if you are going to use Spring framework in our project, we require the Spring related jar files. So we use a XML file called form.xml, that is called project object model. So that form.xml file we have to define our dependencies, that is what jar files we require. So in this case it is Spring framework, so we need two of the jar files. One is Spring core and Spring context are required because we are going to create a simple standalone Spring project. Okay, so select this create simple project checkbox and click next. Then you can give some uh, group ID. I give com.training. Then you can give the artifact ID. Artifact ID is your project name. So we are going to create a greetings project. So I write greetings. Okay. So this is my project name. So I click finish button. So now we have created a Maven project. Okay. So in this Maven project you can see there is a form.xml file. Okay, you can find a form.xml file and yeah, it's a form.xml file is there. In this form.xml file we need to enter our framework, that Spring framework related jar files entries, that is what jar files we require. Those information you have to provide it in the form.xml file. So Spring will Maven will automatically pull all these jar files for us. So let us see this form.xml file, and you can notice that inside the form.xml file we need to we have to it is now currently empty. I will show you that it is still loading. So once it is loaded we can see the form.xml file content. Okay, let us wait for it to load. Meanwhile, let us explain what is Maven, how Maven pull these jar files, from where it pulls. So Maven look for three repositories. One is local repository, which is in our local machine. Another is remote repository. The third one is central repository. If the jar file is not available in the local repository, it will search for remote repository, which is organization level. If the remote repository also does not have, then it will look for the central repository, which is here, which is in the net. Okay, so now we have this form.xml is loaded. Now what we need to do is we need to provide entries for the jar files that we require, right? That Spring related jar files. So what I do is I will copy these entries from the existing project. So to save the time, right? So we can just copy it from the existing project, those entries. So and paste it inside this pom.xml file. Okay. So here we can copy these entries. That is, we need these things, dependencies. Okay. So I just copy this and paste it in our project form.xml file. Okay, so now it is ready. You can see there are two spring-core, another is spring-context. So these are the jar files we require. Okay, so this is the first thing. Second thing is we need to create the Java beans, right? Spring framework actually manages the Java beans. So in this project, greetings project, our objective is to print a hello world in a console. So for that we need a bean. So what I do is let me create that part. Let us create a let us create a package first. Okay, let us create a package com dot training dot spring. Okay, let us have it com dot training. It's enough. And I click finish. So now I have a package. Now I create a bean. Bean is nothing but a Java class, so I want to create a class called greetings bean. Okay, so this is my class greetings bean. Okay, so this class, inside this class, let us have a method. So that method will simply print hello world. Okay, so let us create a method, public void display greetings. Okay, so this inside this method we will have a sysout system.out.println system.out.println and we print hello world. Okay, we just print hello world, right? So we will print hello world inside it. Hello world. Okay, so now this bean is ready. This is a simple bean which has only one method, display greetings, which will print hello world. Now what we need to do is we have to configure this bean. Then only the Spring container will recognize it. So how to configure it? So for that we need an XML file. So we need an XML file to configure this bean. So we can create an XML file. So you can give any name to that file. So I will give I can say I will give a name as config. Okay, so it is an XML file. Config. You can give any name to it. Config.xml I have given. So inside this XML file we need to configure our bean. So how to configure this bean? So for that also let me uh, take the help of the another project where we have done configuration. So I just copy this content and paste it in our config.xml file. Okay, so here this bean, our bean is greetings Our bean name is greetings bean, right? Greetings bean. So the package is com dot training, right? Package is com dot training, and com dot training is the package name, and we have the name of the bean is greetings bean. Okay, so we have configured this way. So we have to use the bean tag, and you have to provide id is equal to my bean, class name is com dot training dot greetings bean. Okay, so now we have configured it. Next thing is we need the a main class to run this. So we need a main class. Let us also copy this main class from another project. I will paste it here in our project. So I can copy and paste the main class, and inside the main class you notice that inside the main class what we have done here, inside the main class we are using a class called class path xml application context. This is actually the spring container class. So spring container is this class path xml application context is nothing but a spring container. So we have created the object of this class, and in the constructor we are passing the xml file name, that is config.xml file name we have passed it. So once we get the object reference, we are calling the getBean method, and we have to pass the bean ID that we have defined in the config.xml file, right? So that bean ID we have to use it. So my bean ID is my bean only. So bean ID is my bean, and the bean class name is greetings bean, right? The bean class name is greetings bean. So we have to use that part. So greetings bean. So we have to give greetings bean, and here also we have to give greetings bean. So now it is done. So getBean method will return the object reference of greetings bean. Then we call the display greetings method on the bean instance. Okay. So now the point here is, the takeaway point here is, in a Spring framework, right? We don't have to create the object. So in this case, the green greetings bean object is actually not created by us, but the Spring container creates it. So we only get the object reference from the container by calling the getBean method. So Spring container, when we create the Spring container at this line number 12, when we have created the Spring container, it will read the config.xml file and see any bean tag. If it finds one, what it will do is it will create the object of it. So by seeing the greetings bean, it creates the object of it, and that object reference is returned when we call the getBean method. Okay, so now let us run this code and see the output. Now let us run this code. So let us run main.java. See the output now. See, in the console you can see, in the console you can see hello world is printed. Okay, so this is how we can create a Java Bean application by using the Spring framework. Okay, it's the simplest example of how to create a Java application using Spring framework. Okay.